so it seems nice that you could get like, millions of this for a few dollars, and then you could dream. Well, what if this thing goes to $1 per coin?
Hey everyone, welcome to today's Shaqir Hussein's podcast. Welcome, Shaqir Hussyin here, and today I have super special guest, Mr. Davincij15. That's what he goes by. Davincij, what's up, brother?
Hey, how's it going, man? Thanks for letting me on your show.
Yeah, absolutely. Listen, I want to get straight into it. You're really famous now, but I knew you when you weren't famous, and you used to talk about gold and silver, and you were basically telling people to buy Bitcoin at $1.
Now, I'm hoping that every single one of you buys $1 worth of Bitcoins, just one freaking dollar, because you're going to be thanking me for that $1, just $1 of Bitcoins that you purchased. But the odds are most of you, 90% of you, are not going to buy even $1 worth of Bitcoins. For what reason? I have no idea. Anyways, if you take my advice, that's great. If not, that's the way it is.
And Bitcoin's right now at about $32,000 ish, and you're still recommending people should be buying Bitcoin. Give us a 2-3 minute backstory of how you even got into it, and then why you're so passionate about this, because you're like one of the most passionate YouTubers out there sharing this message. So fire away, brother.
Well, it all started like back in 2007, actually, where I heard on the Republican debates, that our monetary system is unfair. It transfers wealth from the poor and the middle class to the rich. And I thought, what is this congressman talking about? Must be lying. But then so I thought all the other Republicans would say, no, you're an idiot. What are you talking about? But no, they just said, yeah, that's true. And then they moved on. That's not important. Who cares about that? And I was like, what? I had to find out what this man was talking about. And so I researched, and I found out our whole financial system is a complete fraud. It's a big scam against the human race. And it's the biggest fraud that has ever been perpetrated. and the wealthy, the banksters, are getting away with it. And so I knew I had to tell people. When I asked all my friends and family, I'm like, do you know what's going on here? They didn't know. Nobody knew. Everybody was completely in the dark, and they didn't even want to believe what I was telling them, how banks just print money and lend it to you. And so they print money and lend it to your government, and then they tax you to pay the bank who got the money for free. That is just insane. A new kind of slavery, where actually people don't even understand that they're being enslaved. And so I knew I had to, even though I couldn't, I was not going to be able to get to everybody. And I know people were probably just ignoring me. I knew that if I could just save one person, that'd be enough from this basically damaging financial system, which really just robs you blind without you even noticing it. And so that's why I started talking about gold and silver and saving in gold and silver. And then one of my subscribers on YouTube said, hey, what do you think about Bitcoin? And I thought, scam. There's no way to solve the double spend problem with a digital asset. And so I said I was going to research it and to get it back to him and prove to him it was a scam. And it turns out it was not. And so I knew right then and there that it was going to be the new financial system. It's still not there yet, but we are going in that direction. And you can see that from all the way from, when I first saw it in 2011, March of 2011. Actually, it was in February that I was told about it. And then I started researching. I only started buying in March of 2011. It was when I actually started buying, because I had finished my research, and I was like quite shocked and quite impressed.
Yeah, there's a viral video now that's viral that shows you telling people that, hey, go and buy Bitcoin for $1, and if you can't afford it, I'll pay you the $1 to go buy these Bitcoins. That's crazy. And so now obviously with 10,000 plus more coins in the market, how has your views changed from BTC, ETH, and all the other altcoins? What's your perspective on those?
Well, there's always going to be competition in the realm of money, because money is the only one asset that that exists, or aggregate, or which an aggregate is just a fancy word for saying stuff, and nobody tells you that, right? And so it's just everything that we have, right? Both physical and services stuff is an aggregate, right? It's just a fancy word for that. Um, and money is part of all those things that we have, but it's a special thing because it works. It is 50% of the value of everything else, the money category. So everything else on the other side of the balance sheet, which is your books, your cell phone, your cars, your I don't know, your this glass, whatever. It's all 50% of that is the value of all of that is the other side is money. So if you could create a money substitute, it will be the best asset you can create, right? Because hey, everybody needs it because they want to be able to trade. So this is why the banksters have concentrated on getting a control of the money supply so that they can control everything. And they are in control of everything now because they decide actually what technologies can be invented, what things can be created. You could think, well, no, I'll just find somebody who has cash and I'll go to him and get the cash. But hold on. That person probably went to a bank, is smart enough to know that, hey, you know what? I want to build these buildings. I'm not going to use my cash to build a building. I'm going to, that person the person who's wealthy enough, they're not going to use their own cash when they can just go to the bank and print it, right? And go buy that building, the $2 billion building. They're going to use that. And so guess what? They are now beholden to the bank. And so now, if he wants to go invest in some sort of, like, I don't know, technology that's like turns water into energy, right? And he's like, oh yeah, I'll invest in that. And the bank's like going, we don't like that because it's going to destroy our oil power. So you can't invest in that because we're going to have to call back in your loan.
Yeah.
So yeah, they control everyone and everything because of that power to print money and lend it to people.
Yeah. So, Davincij, in terms of obviously, like, everyone's there's so much bullish news around crypto right now. I just saw today Brazil gave an ETF or something for Ethereum. Uruguay. There's so many, like, on the front. There's so much good news. Why is the price still stuck, and why is it ranging at this 30 to 38K level?
Well, it's because people are fundamental information, right? It does not give you give you the results in price. It generally doesn't. You'll see that even in the next bear market, we'll have lots of fundamental news and the price will continue to go down because fundamentals only tell you, hey, further out, this thing's gonna be worth a lot more, right? That's all it tells you, right? So it allows you to go, okay, the fundamentals today say that if I buy this today, in 5 or 10 years, it's going to be worth a lot. That's all it tells you, right? General fundamentals. So you could say, well, wait a minute, this is such great news that this person's buying and that person's buying. They're opening up, they're allowing other people to buy. This company is now allowing people to buy Bitcoin, and this company is allowing people to buy Bitcoin. Yes, those are great news. That's news because you're going to get that news because you're in the space. But the people who are not getting that news is the average Joe. They're not getting that news because where do they get their news? They get it from this box called television programming that tells them what to do, right? And right now, it's not telling them to buy Bitcoin. So they're not doing it.
Okay, nice. Outside of Bitcoin, what are your favorite altcoins? Maybe 2, 3, 4, 5, whatever.
Well, my favorite altcoins is obviously Ethereum and Binance is the next one. And I have other coins. I'm just afraid to mention them because people like just go all in and they go balls deep and they could go to zero. I mean, that's just the way it is, right? And I don't want them to like throw all their money on that one coin because they heard me say something about it and lose their wealth. So I don't want to do that.
No, I appreciate that. Hey, outside of crypto, what else are you investing in? Are you still a gold, silver bug, or have you like gone completely to the crypto side?
Well, recently I've sold all my gold to buy Ethereum. just well, somewhat recently. Started in November. I started in October and so and in November. And yeah, I sold it all, and I went into Ethereum. I didn't sell my silver because silver is going to explode higher, probably, I believe, higher than the price of gold, because we use it everywhere, and we used it all. And because of the price suppression that was going on, we used it all in such a way that we couldn't afford to recycle it. And so we had a lot above ground, a lot of silver, but all those stocks have been wiped out over the years because of the super price suppression that was going on with silver. And so eventually that's going to have to turn around so that we can actually get it all back. All the silver we use, it still exists today. It's just in landfills, and it can't be recycled at a cost-effective price unless silver is way higher, almost
So,
the price of gold.
wow.
And it's needed everywhere.
Okay, well, I'm glad I didn't also sell my silver because I sold all my gold for Bitcoin earlier this year, I think. Okay, cool. In terms of stock market crashes, property crashes, what's your perspectives on this? You know, people are saying stock market is crashing soon. You know, go all in on crypto. All of this. What's your perspective on the whole economy as a?
I know the stock market's going to crash. I think it's going to continue to go up, and it's going to continue to go crazy higher. The reason why is because the amount of printing that is going on, and I'm sure the corporations, even though they're not buying Bitcoin, they're probably doing something. And I should do some. I'm going to try to do some research soon. I'm figuring out what they've been buying in order to protect themselves against the coming inflation, because they've all seen this hit of 25% across the board when it comes to prices increasing. And so that's how much money was printed last year. So effectively, it's coming to fruition, right? It takes about 12 to 18 months for all the money printing to trickle down into prices. And it's happening. So it's clear to them that this is happening. So they have to do something. So I want to research what they've done, because we already know what MicroStrategies has done.
Yeah.
You know that other companies have probably done the same thing. Maybe purchased more cocoa for Nestle, or oil companies are stockpiling or something. There's going to be purchases of assets that they think is valuable and that they need to hold on to, and they're going to place that on their balance sheet as inventory, so that they can use that, just like MicroStrategy has used Bitcoins to leverage to increase the value of its stock price.
Yeah, Davincij, obviously, when you were discussing Bitcoin all those many years ago, there was no such thing as meme coins, right? So it's like the average person is still very new to crypto. And like, this is the most common question I get. Hey, what's better, Bitcoin or Ethereum? And then almost all the time, the following question is something to do with Shiba or, Dogecoin, or this new one called Million Token. I mean, how do you look at all of the meme coins, and what's your perspective on that?
Well, meme coins, I never really thought they would. I know they would do well, but not as well as they did do. I think it's because of the heavy money printing and no jobs and everybody staying at home ended up causing the meme coins to go that much more crazier than they should have. I think that was the cause of it, basically the pandemic and people staying home. And so that's why we've seen it massive, like, because nobody has any way of making any more money. So people have bet everything on meme coins, and especially the younger generation. So in order to try to get some sort of income or going, and some wealth coming in their way. So that's why we're here today with meme coins. And yeah, I can see why and of course it is fun, right? It's fun to be a part of something big that's a culture, and especially when you're younger. Yeah, so I see it. So especially when there's so many coins out there, so you could actually buy lots and lots of coins, millions of coins. And because um, unit bias is not only for kids, right? But it's also for adults. Like, I mean, you hear about. I've heard when Bitcoin was like at $10,000, very intelligent hedge fund managers saying, "Oh my gosh, what are you gonna do with a $10,000 Bitcoin? How are you gonna buy pizza with that, right? You won't get any change, right? Like not thinking about divisibility, right? So
Yeah.
yeah. So and people generally when you go to a store, grocery store, and you go to buy an apple, you don't want 1/10 of an apple, right? You want that whole apple, right? So it seems nice that you could get like millions of this for a few dollars, and then you could dream. Well, what if this thing goes to $1 per pound? I'll be a millionaire, right? So yeah.
Yeah. Just need to buy 1 million tokens. If it gets to $1, you're a millionaire. That's funny. Hey, and one of the big questions, I asked friends and family, hey, I'm speaking to Davincij. Most of them, they all know who you are and stuff. And some of them live out in Dubai. Everyone wants to know price predictions. What's your price prediction? Actually, let me ask you another question before that. What's your plan? Are you planning to hodl all the way through this bull run, or are you selling some, taking profits? Are you going to be investing in other asset classes, or are you just going to be hodling through this bull run, wait for the next one? What's your own plan?
Well, my plan is to wait and see, because the market will tell me whether or not to take profits or not, because I think there's a lot of money printing going on, and this can lead to hyperinflation if people lose faith in the current financial system. And that's where we're at right now. We're at the cusp of people losing faith in our financial system. And if that happens, I don't think it'd be a good idea to sell your Bitcoin to get dollars, which could go to zero very, very fast, or lose value very, very fast. Because once we go into hyperinflation or in our current financial system, they could hold things together for a while. But what happens is it will come to a point where they can't do it, and it will be an overnight thing where the dollar loses like 50% or 70% in one day. Boom, and you're gone. And so you don't want to be caught on that one, right? Because that's what they're going to do. They're going to put holes in a dam. They're going to keep the things propped up right up to the last second when they can't do it anymore, and you're like, well, give me an example of that. Well, I could do that in the United States, as the United States does have an example of that overnight devaluation. You're like, what? Of 70%? Yes, there's one example of that in the history of the United States where everybody lost 70% of their money, their wealth.
Wow.
Can you name the time?
No, I can't remember.
Okay.
When was it?
Yeah, you weren't alive, of course, but
yeah,
it was in 1933 when they took them when the United States confiscated all the gold, right? And they paid you a little bit more for the gold in dollars, right? And then they repriced it. Before it used to be $20 an ounce for gold, and they repriced it up to $30.
Wow.
So everybody took a haircut. Even the debtors took a haircut. So yeah, everybody got the shaft immediately overnight.
Yeah. No, I was born in 1988, so yeah. But
yeah, I wouldn't have thought you were born in 1920. So
yeah, okay, good. Davincij, price prediction. What's your prediction on Bitcoin and Ethereum? Let's just stick with those two.
Well, I think Bitcoin, right, could still do the 1.2 million sometime, because I really think that people are going to need this thing more and more, because once they run out of things to buy easily, right, most of the corporations, because they have to do it like quietly, slowly, not upset the banking system by doing whatever they're buying to protect themselves. They can't upset the bankers who give them the money. So they have to do this on the sly kind of deal, or make it look like they're doing things to run their operations or something like that. Because obviously the bankers would be like, hold on, what you doing over there? You might want to stop that, right? So they have to change. They have to make sure that doesn't happen. And yeah, and so I really think it could get there. And also Ethereum, right?
What time frame? What time frame for BTC?
Time frame. Well, I think we're within the first quarter of 2000 and 2021 or 2022. Sorry, 2022.
Whoa, that soon?
Mm-hmm.
You think next year?
Yes, because it's going to happen rapidly. We're still printing at the same pace.
Wow. I mean, I've heard like 250K, 300K. I haven't heard $1 million. I'm gonna have to get you back on. We'll probably do this.
We'll see.
We'll probably do another one when I'm in Dubai. Ethereum. What's the prediction on
Well,
Ethereum?
I think Ethereum could easily do right $20,000-$30,000 and by the same time frame at the top of the market. And probably do even way more because of the use case of it.
Wow. Well, I can't wait to hear on how you're going to be a billionaire then, which is going to be exciting. Davincij, this is just like a personal question. How do you deal with big losses? I just made a video on my YouTube channel on how I lost $1.6 million cash last month. And I don't know why I'm smiling, but, you know, I have a business and other things. So I could kind of pick myself up and like just focus on new things that I can move on pretty fast. How do you deal with losses, even if it's like when you were starting off, maybe it was like a $10,000-$20,000 hit? Because a lot of people, what's happened is this is the first, they just got in like this year, right? And they probably bought Bitcoin at 50, 60 grand, and now it's like crashed down, and a lot of people have sold due to panic. And so now they're like thinking, okay, now they want to come back in, but they're scared. Like, what's something that you've dealt with in your life where you can say, hey, you know, this is how you can overcome when you make these mistakes or when you've taken a big loss or whatever?
Well, think about this, right? Whenever people like laugh at me because you've lost so much money because Bitcoin went down, I'm like, okay, so Bill Gates from time to time, loses like half of his wealth, right? He goes from I don't know what 50 billion to 25 billion. Does he lose sleep at night? No. No, he doesn't, right? So why should you, if you're holding your investment for a longer term period, right? You shouldn't lose sleep at night because he's not worried about Microsoft going under, right? Because the stock price dropped, right? So you shouldn't be worried about Bitcoin going under because Bitcoin price dropped, because it's not going anywhere.
I appreciate it. Hey, listen, I know you got to run, so we're going to cut this one short. Thank you so much. I'm going to put a link down below Davincij's channel. You guys can find him on social media. He's everywhere. And Davincij, probably be seeing you soon in Dubai. Thank you so much, buddy.
Awesome. See you soon.